What happens if Adesanya loses? And I don't know that it's different than if Adesanya wins. I mean, let me start at the beginning. You got to be very rational when these fights are done, and most guys are not. Like right now is a time where we can talk and kind of lay out a roadmap. But if we start talking, we lay out a roadmap that win or lose, Izzy's done. Win or lose, Izzy's done. If we lay that out, it doesn't work. It's never worked. It's not a good idea for marketing, for one thing. It doesn't put you in a good light with the organization, and athletes always get it wrong. They think the fans are going to really lock on. Supply and demand, this is my last one. They're all going to be behind me. Way to go. Fans don't diminish. They go somewhere else. So if you announce this is my last one, that belief that you have that they're going to raise you up and be so happy for you and so proud of you and great job with the next chapter in your life, it's not true. Fans don't go away. And I've had this asked so many times, right? I've been there and heard the great ones. I've heard the Kevin Iolis and the John Morgans ask this of Dana, and they're very serious. Hey, Conor's not coming back. Hey, Ronda's going to retire. I can go back to when it was Randy was going to go this way and Tito was going to something called WFA. What are you going to do? It's a star-driven business. These are your stars. And the thing that those people, even the top guys, did not understand is the fans don't leave. They go somewhere else. And the reason I tell you that, when your career comes to an end, the fan's career as a fan does not. So when you start doing this, right, this ahead of time, talking about my topic here, what does Izzy do with a loss? What does he do with a win? Why would it be any different? And I'm asking the question. Izzy might have a great response. Izzy might look at us and go, hey guys, what are you talking about? I am so hungry. I am just getting started. I just want to fight. I don't even care about the champion. You're talking about championships. I don't care if Du Plessis had lost to Strickland. I'm not fighting Strickland in Perth. I'm fighting Du Plessis. This is personal. Great. You have my attention. And frankly, if that came from Izzy, I would believe him. But the concept doesn't change. Why? If we're questioning motivation and what does it take and how bad do you want to be in there? Because Du Plessis is the one that brought this up. Du Plessis asked that about Izzy. And he was self-projecting, but it was still an interesting question by Du Plessis. I would like an answer. If Izzy loses, and now he's just one of the guys, he would represent a different era. Du Plessis would represent the new era. And like so many other guys that were great in one era, they can't transfer it. But this would be what was key. What is Izzy going to do? Izzy doesn't have the same problem as Ronda Rousey in terms of contract, but he's not far off. Izzy had the most beautiful contract in the UFC 3 years ago. I'm just sharing, like, things do change. Ronda Rousey had to retire because the UFC could not book her. Now, the UFC could not book her in terms of justifying her amount anywhere other than a main event, and you could have put a main event on a pay-per-view, particularly with women, unless it was a world title fight, right? Like, that has never happened. Before you start arguing with me, it has never happened. There's never been 2 women, pay-per-view, main event, not for the belt. And I just share that with you that Izzy's not far off in terms of what he's getting paid. He would be a very hard guy to put second fight of the night on the main card. He'd be a hard guy to put third fight of the night. You could put him in a co-spot. But his contract is what you give main eventers. So he would be in a very interesting spot if he was to lose to Du Plessis and just become one of the boys and he's just floating around. But why would that change if he won? I was never champion. But a guy that I looked to that was champion, a guy named Les Gutches, became the world champion. And he told me, it's great for a week. 1 week, it's great. And then it will be the most depressing moment of your life because you said, what do I do now? My whole life was towards this one thing, but now that I have this one thing, what do I do now? And that's as simple as Les put it. But everybody goes through that. And is Izzy hungry enough? Is Izzy angry enough? I don't know that Izzy has any heat with Strickland, just for example. And whether Strickland beat him or not, the rematch was offered, and Izzy said, no, I just don't know that he has any heat with Strickland on a personal level. I don't think he has any heat or interest in Paulo Costa anymore. I know he doesn't have any heat or interest in Robert Whittaker, so I'm just sharing with you, like a lot of what Izzy does, there might be a belt as a byproduct. But I don't believe that Izzy does it for the belt. When he fought Yoel Romero, whatever that was about, but it wasn't just about the belt. And I feel like the same thing is right with Du Plessis. Like I do feel when we ask the question to Izzy, what is your motivation, that he would have an answer. But if he gets past Du Plessis, win or lose. If he wins and you want to go bring in Chimaev, great. If you want to start getting Bo Nickel on a trajectory, which it appears nobody wants to do except for me, great. And the reason I say those two guys, that would be parity and it would be something new. If Chimaev can't get that title shot, I wish that they would tell us now. If there is something about the visa and he can't leave and therefore it's going to project you from being an international champion, I wish that they would tell us now, because there really isn't much left for Izzy to do. Izzy's not only beaten all these guys, he's beaten them twice. And Izzy versus Du Plessis is not likely to be a great fight. One guy is very likely to beat the hell out of the other guy. And the only reason I bring that up is like going into a rematch from this. You're probably not getting there. And it would just add to the idea of what does Izzy do next? And there's such a common belief that with a loss, something changes. Why is that? Why is that in this sport? Why is it so outcome-based? I mean, I will watch guys get their ass kicked. And boxing's more guilty than MMA. They will get their ass kicked. They look terrible. Not just bad. They look terrible. Knock the guy out and win. And because they won, everything is wonderful. They'll literally talk like that with our coaches. Well, we did this and this, so we're going to make sure we do this and this for the next one because look at this outcome. It's exactly what we wanted. No, you looked awful. You really need to go change. You really need to fix some things. But it's not looked at that way. And the same thing goes in reverse. If you go out there and you have a wonderful performance, but it goes against you, you're the guy that got caught. Or the judges win with you, they'll throw everything out. They'll fire their trainers and they'll start over from the beginning. Why would it be different? What is the difference? I mean, don't you believe that Izzy, if we're just purely questioning his motivation, which his opponent Du Plessis did, wouldn't it stand to reason that he would be more motivated to get a belt than to defend a belt? Now, I'm aware that we don't actually know, unfortunately, but it would seem if the whole reason we're talking about retirement is because there's nothing to do or nothing that you would want and get up for to do, it would seem taking on your biggest rival in a comeback match for the belt that you were a 6-1 favorite to never lose in the first place. I mean, it would just seem as though that's the big. So why, with a victory, would his decision be any different than with a loss? We're just asking questions over here. But if we have a chance to ask the actual question, ask him that one for me.